Hi, so it is just me here. Right now I'm going to explain the process by which I do analysis. And the example I will be using is on Kitaman. I have already written the analysis, but I will going to outline the steps that I did to get to where my analysis currently is, so that you could see what the process is and how I go about things and what I look for. So the very first thing I do is, when I look at the list of players and I want to analyze someone, I click their filter, and essentially I read through their entire filter for the game. And when I say read, I mean actually read. Not skimming through, but I'm actually reading all the posts because I want to look for a few things. Mainly, I want to look for what's his overall behavior like and what emotions are he betraying, such as does he seem like he's having a good time? Is he being trolly? Does he seem angry? Is he being super serious? Whatever emotions they could have. I want to see what's coming out through his writing and his posting, because that will be compared to his past behavior as well. Secondly, I'm also reading to get a better idea of where his mindset is in the game, i.e. if he changed his mind about a read or didn't change his mind, and how he went about changing his mind. I want to see who he pushes on and why he wants to push on, because that'll help say, if he is town, if I conclude that he's town, are his reasonings for pushing these people legit, i.e. he thinks they're mafia. Or if I deduce that he's mafia, then he's probably pushing some sort of agenda, so I should be careful of what he says. So I want to see who he's pushing for and see if that, if all his cases line up together. Does it make sense for him as town to be going against these people based on what has happened in the thread? And then, not so importantly, I do read all the posts because I am looking for specific wording, like how he goes about phrasing things, like what words does he try to use or not try to use when he's making a post. That is a lot more difficult to do and takes a lot more time. It's just something I try to look for if I can and if I notice it, but if not, that's no big deal. So basically I'll go through and I'll read the filter. I've already done so, but that usually will take a while depending on who you're reading through. If you're reading through Wave of Shadow, that filter is going to take you quite a bit of time. That's okay. As long as you get a good feeling for how he's going about things. It is better to read more than to just skim, but try to use your best judgment based on however much time you have. And then, so the second thing I will do is I will just scroll through it very fast because I want to get an idea of how his posting length is. So essentially what I'll do is I'm just going to go through the thread just like this very fast. And what I'm doing here is just looking at average post length. And so from the start, it's one-liner, 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 one-liners, paragraph, paragraph, one-liners, paragraph, one-liners, paragraph, 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 more one-liners, paragraph, more one-liners, long post, long post, long post, one-liner, paragraph, more one-liners, one-liners, long post, another long post, paragraph, one-liners, 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 paragraph, paragraph, one-liners, one-liners. Okay, so the reason I did that was to get a sense of what he's doing with his posting length. So essentially what I determined from that is he's posting a lot of one-liners, and he's posting a lot of posts which are just like a paragraph long, but in between all of those there are sections where he has very long posts. So noticing that is very important because people do change their post length subconsciously based on whether or not they are mafia. And I think that's because of their subconscious mindset of how they are playing the game. Someone who is mafia might think that they need to give the town more, so they're more likely to write longer posts. This is definitely true of someone like Jackal on Team Liquid, though I don't think he plays much anymore. It was noticeable when he was mafia because anytime he would write a post, it would be a paragraph or two long. But when he's town, he's just giving out one-liners. But for some people, it's opposite. Some people, when they are mafia, they're just giving out one-liners because they're trying to contribute to the town by distracting the town, or just making it look like they're interested in the events that are going on. But when they're town, they don't post one-liners because they think it's a waste of time. So instead, they post paragraphs of analysis. So there's two ways to look at it, and so it's important to be aware of both ways. Just because someone is posting one-liners does not mean they're mafia or town, but it's how they're posting one-liners and what they're used to doing and what their mindset is. So again, from looking at Kitaman, it's just lots of one-liners. In between the one-liners are some paragraph posts, and in between the paragraph posts, there are these long posts. He has those long chunks. If you remember, one of them was like calling out me, I think. There's one calling out Sandroba. There was one long one about the day one votes, stuff like that. And there was one troll post as well. And so that was the other thing I noticed when I did read through his filter. I did say I want to look for his general behavior. And the thing is that he has a very lighthearted attitude. That's the way I want to put it. Is that, you know, stuff like this. Want to vote Sandrober with me? He may or may not be scummy, right? He's kind of having fun, right, if you will. Not being super serious at all. And, you know, stuff like this, again, is the same kind of thing. And it's just like, you know, he's still being somewhat serious with his vote. He says it's not a joke, but he's just, you know, being fun with it. You know, I get that kind of feeling reading the thread. It's just like, you know, here's some more. Is that he has these posts in his one-liners, such as that. But then when he posts these paragraph posts, it's like usually serious about what he thinks. Like, he finds Hoppa scummy here, and here's why I think he's scummy. Same with these, just like, here's a vote on by Sarah Eyes with explanation. You know, or one-liners, asking questions. Gotta make the round, so he votes me. Asking questions in his one-liner. Here's another, more joking around, having a good attitude. Giving some analysis from past games, that's good. And so from this, it's just like, he's having a good time, I would say. As much as a good time you could have playing in a Mafia game. Haha. And so, yeah, that's another thing I noticed. And then, you know, he has these long posts. This one is definitely somewhat trolly, kind of trolly. Depends how you want to look at it, the combinatorics. And then his vote on Sandroba here, this is a long post which is not trolly, and he actually provides reasons on what's going on. Disagrees with me, doesn't want to vote me, thinks the Sandroba vote is good, talks about Prometheus, and so on. And then he's, you know, doing the Mafia pairs thing, but stops shortly thereafter. And so that's the general, like, feel I get from him. He's only being super serious when he needs to be. When he wants to get a point across, he is there to put the point across. Otherwise, he is there in the thread, but he's kind of being trolly, but still asking questions. All right. So now to compare that to past behavior, we got to go find some of his past games. So what you want to do is go to Team Liquid. You want to go up here, hit enter, and then type in the username of the person that you are looking for. 27. Just click the Mafia forum here. This ensures that it's only searching the Mafia forum, and click content only, since if you click title, it'll have all the threads they made. And then, so what you want to do is you want to go in here and type town and hit search. And let me explain why. So if you search for something on Team Liquid, it's only going to show up 10 pages worth of results. Why it does that, I don't know. It's just how Team Liquid works. It will only give you 10 pages of results and won't give you anything more. So if you type in nothing here and just hit enter, it's going to give you all his posts that he's made on the Mafia forum, regardless of whether or not he is in a game. So like here, he's posting in the community thread, and I think he was in that game that's commenting, and he's hosting a newbie game, right? So these ones are coming up that he's not actually in a game, but is talking about it. And then like he's posting in my thread, right? He's part of the community, so he's posting elsewhere. What happens here, though, is if you go type in town, a lot of those posts are going to disappear. Some of them still come up, but not to the same extent. So essentially what you're doing is, everyone when they're in a Mafia game always says the word town. But if you're not posting in a Mafia game, you're probably not going to be using the word town. So this helps filter through some of those posts so that when you actually search and get your 10 pages, you get more results from his games. So like you could see from here, like, oh, he's playing in the Shadow game, right? If I didn't know that. And then you could scroll down as, oh, here's another game you played in. Oh, here's another game you played in. And you just kind of ignore all the rest. So that's the game he played in. So I will open... So I open this game. So I just opened to the main page, and the way you do that, instead of, if you click one of the numbers, you get one of his actual posts, so you could get his filter. But first you want to see what alignment he is. So you click the game to go to the OP and scroll down and try to look to see where it is, flips and rolls. And I'm looking... Okay, so I don't see Kitaman here, so... And this looks like Mafia 1, since only one Mafia died. And so, hopefully he was Mafia, or he survived to the end of this town. But, messed up. This guy doesn't... Hosts are supposed to post the day-night phases in here. Lots of hosts are lazy. I try to yell at them as much as I can, so don't worry. So what I do is I just click the host filter and then just go to last page, because usually he'll have a yeah, so here we go. Scumless is Pandain, Rain, Stutter, Stent, and Kitaman. So I know Kitaman is town from this game, so if you go to the last page of the host, usually he has a link to like Google spreadsheets or quick topics, and you can see who's Mafia if you cannot figure it out from the OP. So I go back, then we'll find his name. If I can find his name. That's weird. Oh, right. So he replaced it in this game. That's why his name isn't here. I forget who he replaced it in for. Anyway, so I'll just go here. Open this. Click his filter. Click all. Yeah, okay, so it does look... Yeah, he did replace it to this game. So this is a Mafia game, so I remember that's Mafia. So then I go back to the list. And I go to the next game. Looks like he played in this game. There he is. He's blue, died night 2, so that's pretty good. Click his filter. I organize my tabs up here so that the first tabs are town and then the later ones are Mafia, just so I don't get confused. You could organize them whichever way you want. If you want to open up new windows or what have you. You know, do what works best for you. As long as you are somewhat organized so you don't get confused. Don't want to be reading a game where he's Mafia and think it's his town. P2P4, that's a crazy game. I try, if possible when you do this, you want to find non-crazy games to look at. Because in games that are crazy, where everyone has crazy roles, you know, there's slightly differences in the game. You may not be scum hunting as much as you're, like, role confirming people. So Roulette Mini, this is a mini game. Okay, Kill Night 6, also replaced in. It's good, I will move that. Hit all. Usually when I go through this, I try to find at least 2 games where they're town and 2 games where they're Mafia. For Kitaman, I ended up going to find 3. That game ended prematurely, don't want to use that one. The game and I'm pretty sure he was Mafia this game. Let's go check the last pages. Yep, so he's Mafia. Okay, good. I wanted this to happen. So this is a game from a while ago. 10 months ago. And so what happens is, on TL, at some point, they changed the way how filter links work. I'm not sure when they did this, but it happens where if you go to an old game and click on a person's filter from the OP, you'll get this error coming up. And so be aware of this, that does happen if you're looking at somewhat older games. I'm not sure why. I think it's because they changed how the filter works and the links. But anyways, when that happens, just go back to your search results and then click one of his posts, because that always brings up his posts. So I'll do that, open that in a new tab, click all, and that's his Mafia game. I got this one where he's Mafia. Yep, looked like he's Mafia. Survived to the end, I believe. Filter link will work. Filter. All. Back to the search. And LV was the last one I looked at. I'm pretty sure he's telling this game. Flips. Kitaman. Medic. Good. So I'll go back. Open a new tab. Move this to the town section. So then the way my tabs are organized, I have my search results, then these 3 are his town games, and then these 3 are his Mafia games. As I said, I just keep them ordered to keep it straight in my head so I know if which one I'm clicking on. So put that Okay, so I got 3 games where he's Town, 3 games where he's Mafia. That's good. Or 2 games apiece is usually sufficient as well. And so essentially what I'm going to do is just go through them quickly at first and then more carefully later to see if I can get any accurate comparison to what he's doing in the current game. This is the current game right here. So if you remember what I said about average post length, I just skimmed through it and said, oh, lots of one-liners and some paragraph posts, and then in between all that were these big long chunks, big long posts full of analysis. And so what I want to do is go through his games and see if I could find any comparisons to that. If you remember on day 1, I believe, of this game, I did this on the stream with Wave of Shadow as well, and possibly Marvelocity. It's just a quick thing to do, but it's surprisingly accurate, even if you're not actually reading. I do recommend that at the start of the game, especially day 1 and night 1 and day 2. If you think someone is Mafia, this is a good, quick and dirty way to check. Just look at their filter, look how much they're posting and how long their posts are. Go find a game where they're Mafia, go find a game where they're Town, and see which it looks more closely like. It's surprisingly accurate. It's obviously not conclusive because you need to look deeper into that to see what they're writing about and how they are writing and what their mindset is. But as a way to start off, it's definitely very effective, and it's a good way to just get a good read on someone and say, well, it looks like they're posting like they do in their town, so don't need to worry about him, at least for the time being. Or, well, this guy, he's posting like he does when he's Mafia, so I think I need to take a harder look at him. Okay, so I remember what I said, so click in game where he's Town, and I'm just going to scroll through it briefly. Just one-liners, paragraph, paragraphs, more one-liners, paragraph, more one-liners. Oh, there's a long post. Paragraph, more one-liners, kind of trolley behavior. If you see pics or GIFs, that usually indicates some of a trolley behavior. Somewhat long post, but not really. Nope. GIFs, more pictures that look disgusting. And that's about it. Okay, so differences in this one is just lots of one-liners. I did see the trolley thing. I'll take that into account later. There was that one big post, but that was about it. Let's look at, this is another game when he's Town. Paragraph, one-liners, somewhat long post. Paragraphs, more paragraphs. Almost a long post, but not quite. Paragraphs and one-liners, behavior, one-liner paragraph. So there's more paragraphs in this one, but there's still the one-liners. Here's finally this really long post on Mr. Wiggles. Here's another long post as well. One-liners. So this is looking like close to what I saw in the current game as well. So there's another game when he's Town. Long posts. One-liners. Oh, there's a paragraph or 2. More one-liners. Paragraph. More one-liners. There's a long post. Alright, so it's looking pretty consistent, which is good. Some players aren't always as consistent, but this is good. So let's check when a game when he's Mafia. So this is a game where he's Mafia. So he just replaced in one-liners, long post, one-liners, long post, one-liners, long post, paragraphs, paragraphs, paragraph, one-liners, paragraph, one-liners, more one-liners. Okay. So I did notice something. There was a lot of long... I said long posts more than I typically did. In these Town games, there was 1 or 2 long posts. That's about it. In this game, there was 4 right off the bat. So let's check his other Mafia games. Long post right off the bat again. Paragraphs. More paragraphs. More paragraphs. Almost a long post. More paragraphs. Paragraphs. Long post. Oh, Wave of Shadow. How coincidental. More paragraphs. More paragraphs. One-liners, paragraphs, one-liners, long post, paragraphs, another long post. Alright, so it looks like he has more longer posts when he's Mafia. Let's check the last one, just to be sure. Paragraphs. He also has more paragraphs, too, so more paragraphs, long post. One-liners, one-liners, long post. Paragraphs, long post. Paragraphs, paragraphs, one-liners. One-liner? Yeah, one-liner. Make sure you are just reading their text. Anybody can quote. To quote something long, all you have to do is hit one button. This post looks long, but he only wrote 3 sentences, 4 sentences. So that's technically a one-liner for all intents and purposes. Paragraph, paragraph. One-liners, 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 paragraph, one-liners. I say when I go do it, it's just like, this is a bunch of one-liners, right? So sometimes I'll be like, this is a paragraph or this is a one-liner. Depends on how you want to look at it. Since he's responding to one thing. So what he's doing here is, this guy wrote a post and he's responding to individual arguments in turn. So this is essentially a paragraph post. If these were different quotes by different people, it'd essentially be a one-liner post, or just a bunch of one-liners, because it could have been broken up into smaller posts without losing the effect. For this one, it's all about the same person's post, so it's essentially a paragraph post. So just be careful. I mean, like paragraphs, make sure that you're consistent about what you call one-liners or a paragraph. For me, a one-liner is anything that's 1 to 3 lines, essentially. 1 to 2 lines. 3 lines is iffy. So more one-liners here, an occasional paragraph, one-liners. So maybe that's the end of the game, so I shouldn't be looking there. Okay. So that was good. What I realized from that is I noticed that when he's Mafia, there are more longer posts, and there are more paragraph posts. It felt like when I was going through the town games, I'll just make sure, I was saying one-liners a lot more than I was saying paragraphs. But when I was going through Mafia games, there was more paragraphs. One-liner, paragraph, one-liners, paragraph, paragraph, more one-liners, long post, paragraph, 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 more one-liners. And like this game, I'm just going back to reaffirm the idea in my head that his posts are longer in general when he's Mafia. Paragraph, paragraph, long post, paragraph, 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 one-liners, one-liners, long-ass posts, more paragraphs, paragraphs, the one-liner, more one-liners. Yeah. So that definitely looks true. So right away, that just tells me that he's down. When he's Mafia here, his posts are much longer. He has these longer posts, and they're more in number. And his average post is closer to a paragraph. Whereas when he's town, it's just like mostly one-liners. So there's long posts. Yeah, look at all those one-liners, right? Mafia, you get more of the paragraphs instead of the one-liners. And in the current game, as I said before, there's more one-liners than there are paragraphs. Paragraph, 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 more one-liners. There's paragraph, one-liners, one-liners. Long post, long post, long post. There's one-liners, more one-liners, more one-liners, more one-liners. Yep, long post. Yep, another long post. Paragraph, one-liners, 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 one-liners. Yep. So that's good. So I noticed that difference. So it looks like when he's town, he posts one-liners. And as we saw by looking through his current filter, he has this like light-hearted, fun attitude. So what I want to check for is to see if that is apparent in either his town or Mafia games. Yeah. Okay, and in particular, when I did read this game, notice that those things I was highlighting before about his, lighthearted, semi-trolly but fun attitude, is that they were all in the mostly in the one-liners. I quote his first paragraph post is like, oh, I guess it isn't. This paragraph is serious, but then there's something a little trolly there. It looks like it's coming out in his one-liner, so I will see if that is true or not. So let's go to a Mafia game. And so now I'm actually going to read through some of his posts just a little more closely to see if I could get anything. In particular, I'm paying attention to the one-liners. He is a person who will post those big posts, so I think I don't want to go read through them right now. It's just like reading through all these and trying to compare it to his past behavior. That might be a little time-consuming, so let's just look at the one-liners for now. And if I can't reach anything conclusive from that, then I will go through and start reading these big, long posts, compare them to his current long posts and try to make deductions from that. So this is a Mafia game. So as I said, I'm looking for anything that looks lighthearted or fun. Maybe. So I am just kind of skimming. When I actually did that, I was probably like reading a little more closely. I'm more familiar with this now. Okay, there's something. Trolley. There's more faces as well. You could keep that in mind. Some people, when they're town, they will post a lot of faces, and when they're Mafia, they're just absent, and vice versa as well. So I did catch someone on that before a long time ago. So definitely something to consider. Okay. Let's look at the one-liners. Asking questions. That's probably a legit claim. Okay, nothing helpful. It's not being lighthearted or fun. That's being annoyed, looks like. Yeah, so I'm not seeing any of that fun sort of attitude with his one-liners, this post, or even in some of his paragraphs post. It's all serious. He's asking questions or contributing his reads and thoughts. So let's compare that. So this is a Mafia game. So let's go to one of his town games. Let's go to this one. And let's look at the one-liners here. Alright, serious. So there's a long pose. There's something lighthearted and fun. Something semi-mean, but also fun. Serious. Oh, that's not serious. Make me. So mean. People are so mean sometimes. Serious. Long post. More lighthearted and fun. So I'm seeing the same kind of. I'm seeing a definitely difference between his Mafia and his town here. Now, when his Mafia, all his one-liner posts are serious. He's asking someone a question, or they're like this: I'm asking a question, or I'm contributing thoughts. Then when he's town, he has these lighthearted fun with faces and hearts. Yeah, that's lighthearted and fun, right? So let's just go to a different Mafia game and verify that, just to make sure that we are on the right track here. That's fun. Long post. Serious. Fun. Serious. Keep going. Serious. There's a fun post in there. There's not very many one-liners to go through. Serious. So check his other Mafia game. I'm just going to scroll to a random part in the game and see if it's true. I try to do that a lot if I think I'm onto something. Just go to a random part of the game and see if it's still true, instead of just reading from the start. Serious. This is a Mafia game. Serious. More serious. More serious. Yeah, so it looks like I'm able to get a good read here. Let's go look at Aperture Mafia. Serious one-liner, serious. Serious. So his one-liners here are serious as well in East Town. So there's something trolly. I think there's something trolly. post. Okay, so if we quite hold true, I could double check all the games just to make sure, but that's where I'm leaning right now. So it looks like when he's Mafia, he posts one-liners. They're all serious. Not all serious, but mostly serious. Asking people questions, giving his thoughts and reads. He's focused on the game. When he's Town, it looks like he has a more lighthearted attitude. He's not afraid to post a one-liner and say something trolly, you know, set the mood right, or just tell someone they're being stupid. And that's important, so I make a note of that. And then, of course, you check the current game and see what he's doing. Posting one-liners that are semi-trolly, so that makes it look out. So it makes it look like he's Town. And so this is my post on Kita where I say he's Town. And then I explain, I go through his mindset. And so what I did is I read a lot of his posts when he was Mafia, especially some of his longer ones. And essentially what I realized is that when he's Mafia, he's playing kind of a manipulator type role, is that he's pushing lynches and he's trying to convince people to get his way. But when he's Town, he's just kind of, he'll push something, but in a more fun way. You know, he's there contributing to the town, asking people questions, and he's doing that to collect information so that he can make those big long posts when he needs to. Whereas when he's Mafia, he has more of those big long posts because he's trying to convince people that his way is right. And this was especially true early in the game. If you remember, I said, when I was looking through his Mafia games, he had all these long posts, like, right away. Like, as soon as he starts the game, it's just like, long post, long post. I think maybe this one he replaced in. Maybe that's not. So yeah, here we go. This is a game, he's Mafia. Just right off the bat, first post is paragraphs long. Then third post, paragraphs long. More paragraphs, long post, more paragraphs. You know, that kind of seems to be a running theme with him. Is that when he's Mafia, he's coming into the game hard, and he's writing a lot of stuff. And then when he's Mafia, or when he's Town, sorry, starts the game, it's just like a bunch of one-liners. It's just like asking people questions or saying silly things. Like, here we go. This is Town game, and his longest post has been like 5 lines. Until now. Whereas in Mafia, it's one of the games, his first post was like 10 paragraphs long. So that's definitely noticeable. And so I do explain in my post differences between his Town and Mafia play. When he is Mafia, he's manipulative and tries to be convincing. He pushes the lynches that he thinks need to be pushed for his Mafia's sake. So he's very, very convincing. He will do the analysis and write those long posts to try to convince people. But then when he's Town, he's more upbeat, has a lighthearted attitude, not afraid to speak his mind, and then do some good analysis later. And so I kind of explained, and so through the post I explained what I actually found. Kid is Mafia, expect more paragraphs. If he's Town, expect one-liners. And then I say where I found the games. And then overall I draw the concluding points, like why does this matter? The reason that he has this difference in posting is a direct cause of how he plays the game. So when he's Mafia, he's convincing and pushing lynches and pushing a Mafia agenda. And that's why he's doing it as Mafia, is because he needs to get it done so that he could survive, right? When he's Town, he has no fear of the town and doesn't care what other people are saying or doing. And he'll call people out on their bullshit. And so, yeah. And so that makes sense. And so it fits. That kind of posting pattern that he has, it fits with how he approaches the game. He is sly, manipulative when he is Mafia and tries to be convincing. Now, some of the way, like, I do kind of know that because I have experience playing with them. And so since I know that, that's like getting a head start. If you did not know that, you would probably need to pick one of the games as each Town and Mafia and just kind of like read it through, maybe just halfway, maybe just closely skimming to get that idea, to see that, like, okay, when he is Mafia, he's trying to be convincing, he's pushing his ideas and trying to get the town on his side. And then you could see when he's Town, he's just like posting one-liners, asking questions, and then at the end of the day, he posts that big, long analysis. And so I outline, and that's how I make the post. And then it comes through in his one-liner posting, as we saw. And so I've compared, and so I've taken some posts to compare them. This is from his Town games, or from his game, this game. Yeah, so I started with the current game. It was like, what can we say? His attitude certainly isn't serious. It's opposite of Holy Flare, as you will see. He's poking fun at a lot of different people and speaking whatever silly things come out of his mind. And then you might say, well, why aren't these posts kind of scummy, not accomplishing anything or giving us concrete? It is reasonable to think that, and on its own is probably true, but it's about the intent and mindset that Kita has when making these posts that's important to what's going on and why he does that. So I pulled some of his one-liners for his Mafia games. As I said, when I do this, I try to just like go to a Mafia game, go to a random place, and just pick the first one-liner that comes out. And likewise, I try to do that when I'm in town. It's in East Town right now. Doesn't say much. Yeah, there's a troll post. That would be a perfect example. Just by randomly going to a place in the thread. So I compare that to his Mafia and from his town. Like, look at his post when he's town. And I say the defense is immediate clear. And so, in conclusion, you could draw the fact that he is town. And that's about it. That's the process I kind of go through. So this is a town one, and I didn't write too much on this one that I'm used to. For instance, I did call out a Mafia, which I'm about to post to the thread, and I did write significantly more to emphasize my point and get this across. But this is definitely a very convincing argument that he is town. His posting behavior is exactly like it is when he is town, not like it is when he's Mafia. And that's because of the mindset he has when playing the game. It directly correlates with that, and so you think he's town based on that. So that's great. So that is the process for how you do it, how I do it and go through it. And hopefully you could take these ideas and carry them over into your game. That is it for now.